Professor Josh Webster. He's a doctor, by the way. All right. So last week, in the middle of a Tinder date, the guy asks, "What's been on your mind lately?" It sounds like a lie, and it was. I just don't usually do what I did. I guess you could say I was raised better, but this guy acted like he was an LA club owner from the 50s and just wouldn't stop texting people, whom I'm assuming were other women, because I can't imagine that he actually had friends. So, I told him the truth. I told him exactly what had been on my mind. I started out with the easy things, the odd little things that slip in while I'm working or folding laundry. I told him I think about why we can't taste things in dreams, and if that's true of chefs. I wonder why Sleeper's lie detector didn't take off, even though it's equally as good as Elvis Costello's Watching the Detectives. Sometimes I like to imagine what Hilda Doolittle films would be like, and if they're similar to the style of Sofia Coppola. Then other times I try to imagine the amount of self-restraint Tippi Hedren had not to grab Alfred Hitchcock by his neck fat and slam his brilliant head into an artfully placed coffee table. On my way to work, I like to try and imagine the conversations between Samuel Beckett and Andre the Giant in their pastoral French carpool. Then I moved on to bigger things. Like questioning if people who think terrible things about immigrants and minorities realize that they're terrible people, or if they just think they're serving the greater good. And some of those people who claim to be progressive are actually just getting off on the Enlightenment, when their values are actually just basic decency a kindergartner could figure out. I told him at night, before I go to sleep, I try to imagine what people with depression fear when they go to sleep at night. And if they're afraid that they're going to wake up in despair. And in my twilight hours, I try to imagine how an addict feels when he finally realizes that they're dying and still can't stop. At this point, I had the guy's attention. He'd finally put his phone down and he was staring at me like I had just spontaneously combusted. I guess I had in a way. Oh, but I wasn't finished. I then went on to, when I see a catchphrase or a slogan post on Facebook, how I wonder if that's actually just a placeholder for people questioning and not saying how they feel about themselves and each other. And how we can't like people who don't post or don't comment, even though we appreciate their silence. This, of course, led me to all the musings of why do I even bother with social media in the first place? I check it all day, just so I can imagine the responses that I don't get. I told him, I wonder why we try so hard to make ourselves seem perfect, yet we tell other people, take pride in your imperfections. And how when we hurt someone, we tell them it's their responsibility to accept us for who we are instead of just trying to be better by them. And how impossible it is to say, I'm lonely. I'm hurting. I'm lost. to someone's face. Yet we can think of a variety of terrible things to do to them that say the exact same thing. At this point, I look at him and I said, I wonder how long it's been since someone asked me what's been on my mind and actually gave a damn about my response. Not that I think that you do. We talk about our jobs. We talk about the news. We talk about the new golden age of television, yet what we really want to talk about is what we think and feel. Finally, I said, I'm wondering how long it's going to take you to write me off because you asked a question and I told you the truth. Some swipes